Hello and welcome to the Claret and Blue podcast. This is our Monday episode, but not strictly a Q&A because we play Monaco on Tuesday evening. So me and John are going to have a bit of a chat about Arsenal and a preview for Monaco rather than answer your questions. If we have time, we might do a Q&A after Monaco and before West Ham, but no promises. We'll see how we go. How's things, John? Don't tell me where you are yet. Let's have a bit of suspense. We'll get to that in a sec.
Well, it should be obvious. Looking forward to obviously the game on Tuesday. Good opportunity for us to nearly book ourselves in the round of 16 for the Champions League. Had a day of travelling. I'm all good now in my hotel room. Had a connecting flight, so a bit long, but I am sound ready to go. Really looking forward to the game, and obviously coming off the back of the Arsenal result as well. It's been a really good week for Villa, actually.
Yeah, you said before we started, it should be obvious where I am. Monaco, then? No, I'm in Nice. Not obvious at all. I didn't know you'd be in Nice. Why are you in Nice and not specifically in Monaco? I know it's close enough, but I actually just thought you'd be in Monaco, like a stone's throw away from the stadium or something in my head.
Well, that would be ideal, but like prices and I don't need to go into the details. I mean, Monte Carlo, and it's it's only about 20-minute train or something away from Monaco itself, and I think most of the fans are, or at least the vast majority, are based in Nice. There's quite a lot on my connecting flight today, so I think fair play making the most of the opportunity to come to the south of France in January.
Did you bump into the pilot this time? Was he a fan of the show?
No, the pilot was German, so I thought surely not. Surely not a Claret and Blue podcast. But a shout out to Phil, actually, who kept me company for at least a portion of the journey. Yeah, I was pretty pleasantly surprised, actually. I come out of the train station at about 8 o'clock over here, and it wasn't warm, but it wasn't cold. It's pretty it's obviously quite Mediterranean down here, so it's very nice. I saw a few palm trees as well, and I was like, wow, considering I'm only in the country that's beneath England, it's a pleasant change.
Yeah, nice. Well, for context, it's 2 degrees here back in the UK. I've just been out for a little bit of a run, so I'm all
probably only like 8 here, to be fair.
Yeah, well, 4 times as warm, so take what you can get. We are going to touch on Arsenal a little bit as well, but just while we've started with Monaco, you said just then about kind of Villa have got one eye on qualifying for the top 8, and beating Monaco I don't think makes it mathematical, but puts us in a very, very good position. I can't really be bothered to work out the permutations because there's still 2 games left and 6 points available. It can be quite a swing, so Villa win this game and it makes their job much easier. The side point I wanted to ask from a kind of spoken point of view, this is a massive tangent, and a written journalist point of view, I was thinking about this in the shower just now. If you had to pick a word to, like a sense, to describe Villa's touching distance towards the round of 16, is it that they've got an eye on the last 16? They can see it? Can you smell it, John? Can you quite taste it? What sense would you go for if you were writing a headline?
Absolutely. I wouldn't put Aston Villa can smell. Do
you know what I mean? Like, you can smell the last 16, John.
If they win, and I wouldn't put this in the headline anyway, but you would say they've got 1 foot in the round of 16.
Yeah, they can almost feel it. They can almost touch it.
Yeah, 1 foot in the round of 16. It's tantalisingly close. So and it would be. There's a lot of traffic beneath Villa in terms of teams that have just 3 less points than them. Monaco are in 16th, I believe, 3 points behind Villa. And 19th. It goes all the way down to 19th. I think it's like Club Brugge who are 3 points behind us as well. Yeah. But of course, then goal difference comes into it and different things. So Villa are in a really strong position to go over the line, and as we'll get on to as the questions continue, I am much more confident about playing Monaco than I was a month or 2 ago. So there's that as well. Villa will be in a really strong position though if they win. I don't think it'll be mathematically possible unless maybe different things happen. But
some of that traffic would obviously have to lose this game, and in a way that in the next round of fixtures, some of them play each other, so not everybody could catch us. But there's too much to work out for now. Yeah,
and there'd be literally like 12 different scenarios or something silly. There's so teams beneath us.
We'll know after Monaco, let's say if we do win, that we only need a point against Celtic or whatever, or if we beat Celtic it's 100%, or if we get a point and PSG lose or whatever it is, we'll have a much clearer focus after Tuesday night.
Saying this earlier to a few fans that I saw in Nice when I arrived, that actually you want to win both matches because it obviously puts you in a better position to as we've looked at ourselves down for about 40 minutes trying to work out what this knockout draw is going to be, or lack of draw, and we'll get on to that probably next week. We'll do a big video on what happens basically after the league phase, because it's very confusing, or it looks confusing anyway. But it does matter, or it should matter, if you finish 3rd or 8th, for example. It's not just about finishing in the top 8. Of course, Villa, I'd snatch your hands off for 8th place right now. But if they win both of them, then fantastic. They could be, 4th, for example. And that's a better position, or you're more likely to go further, in theory, the higher you finish.
Let's not count our chickens just yet. We've still got to go and beat Monaco and beat Celtic to really drive the point home. If we win both games, it's mathematical, isn't it, because of where we are. So that is the task, go and win both games. Just away from Monaco a little bit, we will come back to it. Just touch on Arsenal. I said this wasn't a Q&A, but one question we got on the post-match podcast with Rob Warner was, I'm curious, as a Villa fan in the press box, this is from Global Pilot, it might be the pilot from the Leipzig podcast. When there's a comeback like that, do you lose it and celebrate like a fan? Now, this is maybe specific to you or just a journalist in that position. Yeah. You tell me what happens in your eyes, and I'll tell you what I think, having been there very infrequently.
I'm dreadful at hiding my emotions in a press box. Nobody wants to sit next to me because I am.
Because you stink.
I need to be less. I need to be, I would say more professional, but anyway, to be honest, against Arsenal, this is a game where I didn't jump out of my seat or shout, or I wouldn't shout anyway, but you know what I mean? I didn't get carried away on this one because I was quite stunned, to be honest. I'll admit I lifted my head up as Yuri Tielemans headed the ball in. So I was like, kind of, out of the blue. I'll admit, when Arsenal scored their second goal, I thought, okay, maybe Villa will lose this game, or they will probably lose this game now. And, as we said before, that's okay. It's not going to kill the season by all means. There would be no shame in that if we had lost. So yeah, when Tielemans scored, I thought, oh, okay, hello. And then when he hit the post, I did jump out of my seat when he hit the post. Because I thought, like, wow, we could have drawn this game. And then obviously Watkins scores, it's like, bloody hell. But I think there was such a long time left in the match, and genuinely, I didn't think we were going to come out of there with a draw. I just presumed Arsenal would get the goal. I was by no means were Arsenal that much better than Villa, and a draw was arguably a fair result in the end. Just because we went 2-0 down, I didn't for the life of me think that we were going to come back. So I was more in shock rather than anything else. And I kind of thought that, Moreno will score, and he did. Well, I didn't think he would score, but he thought he did. That was, my heart sunk when that went in. I had like the perfect view of the ball, just deflecting it. I was like, oh, God. And it's twofold as well, because obviously, the fan in me, obviously doesn't like to see that, but also the professional as well, because I've then got to change it.
You've written your piece to say that Villa have drawn the game.
Yeah, and it's not just like one match report. People are watching on the telly. It's lots of different things that we do at the same time during a game. And it's just like, are you kidding me? Like, so... Yeah, in the end, it was all fine and we got out with a point. But no, I wasn't that bad for this game. It probably because the Arsenal press box is quite spread out as well, which probably helps my peers. So, the Arsenal press box is strange as well. I'm always right at the very end with the Arsenal fans, which for the last 2 seasons has been absolutely fantastic to watch. and here. It's a terrible language, Dan. Terrible language.
I can imagine, yeah.
On Saturday.
I mean, arguably one of the worst fan bases in the Premier League, I would say. From an online perspective, at least.
At half time, I had an Arsenal fan come up to me, basically. Obviously, he doesn't know who I am or who I work for, why I'm there. And I didn't give any sort of attention. He comes out, he was wearing like a big, colourful jacket. And I can see my periphery. And he's like, oh, Arsenal never get credit from you lot. Why don't you give us more? And I'm like, I'm not even going to look at him. But I did see him walk out in the 90 whatever minute. And... I was kind of waiting him to ask me another question, but he didn't want to stop. I think he...
Well, not interested by that point, was he?
No, I think he'd lost interest. So,
I wonder why.
And I said it last year, and I'll say it again. North London forever is so cringe. It is awful.
Whatever the weather.
It's hard. It's really bad. I just don't like it. And I'm not. This isn't like an anti-Arsenal thing or anything. It could be Wigan that are singing this. I cringe. I just think it's horrible.
Yeah,
I
agreed.
don't like it. I don't like the slow pace of it. I don't like the lyrics either. These streets are our own. Of course they are. You're in North London. Like, the weather. Come on, like, no, not for me. Pull yourselves together, man. Come in a tourist on this. I don't know. Just it's not my bag at all. I think a lot of people probably agree.
You can't be in a title race doing this. I
say the same thing for the Forest anthem before.
I don't mind that as much, but yeah, North London Threader is easily the worst one.
It's forced and it's just there.
Just on the press box things, I'm going a little bit of projection here onto you, somebody who's been in press boxes way more than I have. I had a spell of doing about 5 or 6 games in the 2019-2020 season, and they were all away games. So there's that weird thing of like, you know that you're the outsider in that stadium, so you don't want to kind of cause a scene, basically.
That's why I love an away win. There's nothing
great.
A away win because they're among it, and it's like,
yeah.
Hard to explain it, but yeah, it's.
I was at Old Trafford for the Man United 2-2 when Grealish scored that goal, and I like kind of celebrated Grealish's goal very kind of. I celebrated it, but very like, okay, back to work kind of thing. Yeah. The only thing I was going to suggest to you, and I think this definitely would be more impactful in the stadium, is when you're working, there is that kind of element of like, okay, there's a goal happened, but that means now I've got things to do. So it's not like a goal's gone in, I'm going to celebrate for like a minute like you would in the crowd. It's kind of like, it's hit the back of the net, bang, 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 bang on my laptop. And I even get a sense that, like, if I'm working a match day from home, it's like if someone scores, not so often now, but that means I need to download a picture, make a graphic and put a tweet out or whatever. So I'm like, oh, we scored, but like, back to work. And even at home, I wouldn't get carried away. So in the stadium, especially away, I'd be like, okay, this means that I've got stuff to do rather than I'm a fan and I'm going to get carried away, which is a little bit sad, but you know, you are there for a work purpose. So
I'm doing a dream job. I'm in Monte Carlo tomorrow. Like, Jesus, I've got nothing to complain about at all. And it's, I always say it's a privilege doing it, but you're right. I'm not jumping out of my seat and celebrating. Like, that's just completely unprofessional. I do my job. It's just that I do it with a smile on my face if I score. I might ruffle the hair of someone sitting next to me as well. That's a shame for them, but that's what happens at Villa Park. There's no supporters behind me in the press box when I'm at Villa, so I do feel a bit more relaxed that I can, you know, come on, that sort of thing. You know, give it a bit more. If we score,
no one ever said anything.
No. I know that I probably annoy the people around me, but I think that they kind of let me off if I, you know, it's all. I don't know how to explain it, but yeah, I probably annoy people.
It's all in like good taste, like you're not gloating over your peers and stuff like that.
No, it's never going to be unprofessional, but yeah, I do obviously invest myself emotionally in it because I've said this many times. I said it to someone earlier. Like the hours that we put into not just the podcast, obviously a lot of the stuff that we do and long hours, you know, all that stuff, and it's not a complaint at all. But I know for a fact I wouldn't be able to do it if I didn't have a passion for what I'm doing. I'm not to make this podcast about us or anything, but yeah, just, you know, if I'm not emotionally involved in it, I would not be giving it anywhere near.
Oh, the end product, the content that you're making is not going to be as good if you're not emotionally invested in it. Was it handball?
I mean, is that even a question?
Arsenal fans are suggesting, it's midriff. And then I saw one person suggest that like they actually realised they were looking at the wrong arm the whole time, and they thought it was his left arm. And then it actually does. Yeah, I probably just hit his right arm actually. So you didn't even consider it might have been the other arm that people were. It's so obvious.
Yeah, I'm not even going to give it like any time. Like, it's just hit his arm. Those are the rules. I remember watching it on the little screen and seeing him like kind of not losing it, and I was like, oh, I guess they think that they've just, you know, got over the line and they can't be too celeb because they've got, you know, points to gain on Liverpool. That was what I thought. But then quickly, there was a reporter in front of me as all the Arsenal fans left early. He was giving it the, you know, touch his arm to the Arsenal fans, and they were like, you know, what are you talking about? And handball, you know, and then I'm like,
I love it. And a good week for Villa, as you said. Obviously, Everton have just beaten Spurs this afternoon, which, I mean, what does that say about either side, really? But for Villa to go to Goodison and get a win is a good result because Everton are on a bit of form now. Are they? Or Tottenham just, who knows? Yeah, but a good week for Villa, unbeaten in 2025 still. 3 wins on the bounce and then come back from behind to draw away at Arsenal. A great result. Taking that into the Champions League where Villa are, as I say, they can smell the last 16. You know, they need a couple more results to get there. Do you think that is how this kind of little narrative unfolds? Villa are on form and have the last 16 in their sights. Is it all going too well to just say, well, they'll get the results they'll get and finish top 8? Or are you more kind of conservative about, well, you know, this is still going to be difficult and, you know, if we're into the knockout phase, so be it?
No, I still think it'll be difficult because Monaco are desperate for a result, whether we are a team playing the Champions League or we're bottom of the league like they played at the weekend, or a 4th division side who they beat I think last month or a few weeks ago as well. So they're going to be desperate for it, not just because they're in poor form, but also they need to win to make sure that they stay in the knockouts. There's every chance that they could fall out, I think, if they lose two matches. So they won't want it to go down to the last day or the last match week next week. So yeah, it's a Champions League game. I thought we'd be okay against Bruges, and I know that we lost in bizarre circumstances, but we were pretty crap. So I'm not going to get carried away. I do think we've turned a corner away from home in the Premier League against Leipzig as well. We won the match, played very well, still gave away 2 relatively cheap goals. Certainly one of them was. So no, I don't think we can get carried away. And I think if we do, that's when we start to regress again. I think it's no surprise that now we've kind of pinpointed these games kind of singular. I feel like we took on Everton as all right, we have to be fully invested in this because it's David Moyes' first game. It's now 10 times harder, or that's how we had to approach it anyway, as if it would be 10 times harder than what it would have been if we played Sean Dyche's team and everything that came with Moyes coming back to Goodison. Against Arsenal, we were pretty competitive, but we fell 2 goals behind and then showed character to come from that to avoid defeat, and in the end a draw felt like a win. So we are confident, but that's not what we'll need just to get through Monaco. We need to play well, and I'm sure Emery's done his homework on Monaco, and then obviously we've got a lot of games coming up after that. But no, I'm not looking at this game thinking, oh yeah, they're not in great form, we should be able to go there and win. While that's true, there's no way we're going to win if that's the mentality that we have of we'll turn up and get a result, and then we can kind of book Celtic off almost because we'll probably be in the top 8. That's the last thing that then affects West Ham, and it affects Ipswich after that, and Wolves. Sorry. So yeah, you have to treat every game as not a must win, but every game is one that I do think would affect the next one, because we have to keep this momentum going. Now we're 5 beaten, but we need to continue in that vein of form.
There's a potential kind of saving grace, and obviously it's all dependent on the results that happen this midweek, that if Villa don't beat Monaco, there is still Celtic, and it would be relatively likely if they were to win that game, that would be enough for top 8. You've got 2 match points kind of to secure top 8. If we don't do it on Tuesday, we can potentially do it the following Wednesday anyway. But I was going to ask you, would you have any kind of an eye on the West Ham game? Because we know that the narrative will be, if Villa don't beat West Ham, it's because of the Champions League. If Villa beat Monaco, it's that they put everything into that and it's affected their league form. If we lose to Monaco, it's we've travelled away and we've kind of haven't come back to Premier League duties and beat a side that we should be beating. We absolutely should be beating West Ham at Villa Park. Likewise with Celtic, yes, you haven't got the travel element, but if we don't go to Wolves and play well, it'll be, is that because they put everything into Celtic? Would you, as a fan, as a journalist, or as a club representative, Emery, Monchi, whoever, would you care about any of that further narrative, or is it all just purely about Tuesday night?
No, I think, as I say, we're not in the business end of the season at all, but we are in the Champions League, theoretically. So I do think it will be full focus for Tuesday. And I think we know as well that getting through this match puts us in a fantastic position to then, against Celtic, we may only need a point. And although I know I said earlier about winning 2 matches will help you in theory, but no one can tell me that if we were to beat Monaco, Celtic may not be a must win. It will be a fantastic atmosphere and it'll be, a brilliant spectacle, but we won't have the pressure. And I think that's what we want to avoid. If we don't have the pressure for Celtic, then mentally we're not as fatigued for that game against Wolves, which will be a big game as well. I think, we haven't won one in time. They'll obviously want to try and get one over on us. They're also scrapping for their lives now.
Trouble as well, yeah.
Chelsea on Monday, and obviously Everton have picked up a little bit. Ipswich have been battered by City, but they had a couple of good results before then. But anyway, I just feel like at this point we've realised what we've just done in the last few weeks in terms of losing 5 in a row away. We appear to have got our home form back together, and we're back on track there. We seem to be focusing more on the job in hand and kind of detailing specific things to that opponent. That's how I feel anyway, in terms of recent results that we've got. I've been more enthused that we can compete for the Champions League again and get top 8, whereas a month or two ago, both of those things I was still unsure about. If anything, I'd be a bit worried if we didn't beat Monaco, that we would be focusing on Celtic rather than West Ham. I feel like these 2 games, obviously massively important in the Champions League, but also we can do ourselves a big favour and put concentration back onto West Ham by beating Monaco. It almost puts us in a really good position, or it definitely does put us in a good position there, to then think, all right, that's done, nearly. West Ham now, and then Celtic, I feel like you get up for that anyway, because as I say, the atmosphere we've seen, it's, everything that comes with that. And then you've got Wolves, which again, a derby, should be able to get up for it too. So hopefully each one you can kind of tick off, starting with Tuesday night.
Yeah, it's a potentially really kind of tasty run. And we spoke, didn't we, before about the form that you're on kind of impacts how you feel further ahead. That if we beat Monaco and West Ham, you're thinking, well, are we going to beat Celtic and Wolves? Are we going to lose at some point? When you look through the fixtures, Monaco, West Ham, Celtic, Wolves, Tottenham in the FA Cup is tasty, and I'll back us to be able to beat them with how they are at the moment. And it's another 3 weeks away or something, but is Ange even still going to be there? Who even knows at that stage? Then Ipswich and Chelsea back to back at Villa Park. It's a good run of Villa, to not necessarily easy games or anything like that, because it's just Champions League, it's Chelsea, it's Spurs, but it's an opportunity to kind of set a level of, this is what we are like. If we can pick up results in those games, it kind of gives you that springboard for the running, which you'd probably be approaching by March-ish. So it's a great opportunity, and let's just hope Villa don't get up, basically. Well,
you can make the argument pretty clearly that Villa are the favourites to win all of their games before Chelsea, and if they do get points before Chelsea, they maybe are the favourites against Chelsea, because they will either be ahead of them or have the chance to go above them. That's where we are, and as I said it many times before, after Chelsea, in the kind of second half of the season, that's when the fixtures do ramp up, including the Chelsea match. But we have home games: Liverpool, Forest, and
Newcastle, Man City. Man City's away, but
but Newcastle, those home matches, those are big opportunities for us. So I feel like we are rapidly going through this campaign, but we're in a position, and just in terms of the Champions League, tick off Tuesday night, and it will be like not a weight off our shoulders, but I think we can look at things very clearly then, rather than think, we're going to have to, beat Celtic. They're going to have to try and beat us as well to finish higher, that sort of thing. And then we've got Wolves, but we've got West Ham first, and all these different facets. Whereas if you beat Monaco, get a bit aggressive there. Beat Monaco, you kind
of opens up a little bit, doesn't it, to focus in on specific areas.
There's nothing in the horizon that makes me feel like, but we're going to have to do that, and this could wild us. But
and that's not kind of complacency of the fixtures are easy and Villa are just going to walk through it. It's still the Premier League, but kind of you set yourself up, basically, is the point we're trying to get to. Let's try and pick an 11 for Monaco then before we give a score prediction, which we don't track the predictions anyway, but still worth doing. We'll do it in segments of like goalkeeper, defenders, midfielders, attackers, rather than just an 11. Goalkeeper, any doubts over Emi Martinez being the choice? Robin Olsen maybe getting in there, do you think?
Not before Emery's press conference. I'm not saying there is an issue.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
If there are any injury issues, then I won't know about them.
Yeah, there is an Emery press conference on Monday afternoon, so stay tuned to John's social media and Birmingham Live page for whatever updates come from that.
If there is an update at all, hopefully it will just be on Amadou Onana, and that'll be that.
Yes.
Or maybe McGinn I don't think McGinn will be in the team, probably a bit too early. But West Ham, hopefully, for McGinn. But Onana, that'll probably be the main update there.
Yeah, so Martinez obviously plays back four. Is it the same that started against Arsenal, or does Dean come in and retain his place?
Yeah, the one that ended it against Arsenal for me. I was very surprised to see Maatsen play against Arsenal, not gonna lie. Not just because I think Dean, I would have started him anyway, but because we have this Monaco match, and it felt these matches feel like an opportunity for Maatsen to play. Whereas now, is he going to start again? I don't know. I think we've seen why Dean plays, and I think we knew it before, but it was kind of crystallised because of the mistake that Maatsen made, which is a real shame because I really like him going forward, like a lot.
Yeah, he had the booking as well, didn't he? That's got to be
yeah.
Part of the decision.
Emery said, the booking was the reason, but also he did struggle defensively. But even though I say Maatsen's brilliant going forward, Luca Dean puts in a pinpoint cross to get us back on level, well, half the deficit anyway. So, yeah. I think Luca Dean starts.
It's kind of like that thing you said before about it feels a bit like we're focused on every single game and the setup for that game now. Obviously, Emery takes every game seriously, but when results start to go your way, you kind of think, well, we did this against them and we did this against them. And like, we were really kind of honing in on the little things.
You see it because we perfect that game plan. Yeah.
Yeah, but you felt like, well, he's playing Maatsen because he thinks we can attack that left side. Partey is playing right back. That's something we can get at going forward. Maatsen will be better than Dean in that position. But going the other way, Martinelli kind of running ragged a few times, and that was that. He gets his booking, he comes off. Like the idea was there, but the execution didn't quite work. You could see a case for why Maatsen would start in the Champions League. But when it's a bit like a goal scorer, isn't it? Dean's got an assist. Like, is that enough for him to go, I contributed, like, get me in there?
Yeah, because then Dean, I want him to start against West Ham, for example. Do you rest him? I know it's a relatively good gap of, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and we'll play Saturday. So I don't think that'll be too much in his thinking. I think he will just be thinking this match solely because of injuries as well. We don't have too much luxury now. And then who knows what injuries we're going to get against Monaco and then against West Ham. They seem to pile up,
every game we tend to get one, don't we?
Yeah. A bit of a question for you, Ed, Dan. I don't know if you know the answer. It's not that exciting, but there is a player who's banned for this match. Do you know who it is?
From a Villa perspective?
Yep.
Oh, Diego Carlos.
Hey!
I got that straight away.
I'm not celebrating, by the way. I'm just saying, you just got it right.
How the edit look there is that you ask the question, I say Diego Carlos, and everyone goes, what a great guess.
7 minutes it took him.
Not quite 7 minutes, John, but here's what actually happened.
This has gone under the radar. Let me think. Is it Marlon? Does that count as a ban?
No. Oh, I mean, Marlon can't play.
Marlon can't play. Yeah. I thought that was like a trick question. Should I know this? Like, am I being stupid here?
I don't know. I know it.
Well, probably, yeah. I mean, yeah, but you know everything. I'm going to go with...
Do you want a clue?
Yeah, go on then.
I don't think he'll be playing anyway.
The player that's banned you don't think will be playing anyway?
Yeah, so it's a bit of a silly one, but it's still factually correct. I mean, if you think about it, I've asked you at a very specific point, haven't I, in this team?
Oh, defenders.
Yeah.
Who's banned? He won't play. Diego Carlos.
Hey! Carlos picked his third booking against Leipzig.
Yeah. I've totally forgotten about that. It was a long time ago.
Yeah, so he's...
But as you say, he won't play anyway. And I thought we just picked our back four, Mings, Konsa, so I thought we'd move forward into midfield now. So I was thinking, is Bogard unavailable for some reason?
The only other one would be... The only other player who could be banned in the league phase is Duran. So if he avoids the yellow, he'll play against Celtic, and that will be that. So Duran's on 2. A lot of players are on 1. So it doesn't matter now. And then, Carlos is banned. Don't think he's going to be playing anyway. But
no. He'll be unavailable again, won't he? So, yes, let's move on. Into midfield then. This is a talking point. The Tielemans role, I suppose. How do you set up that midfield? Obviously, Bogard came on for Onana and did very well. And that allows us to play in the same kind of structure. Tielemans further forward, Bogard alongside Kamara. Do you do that again in a big Champions League game? Or do you drop Tielemans back and change it further forward?
I would drop Tielemans back in the middle with Kamara. And then if you want to go for the rest of the team, or at least the players in front, I'd put Bailey on the right and then move Rodgers into the middle and then have Ramsey off the left. But yeah, fair play to Bogard. Definitely played well, held his own, obviously played the ball to Dean, which led to the goal. I think everyone was probably surprised to see him come on, actually, especially because we went 1-0 down. But yeah, full credit to him. It's a position that he's played most in his career. Obviously, Bristol Rovers on loan in his senior career, that is. So yeah, no surprise to see him kind of adapt to it well. But he's playing against some of the best midfielders in the Premier League. also, big, plaudits to him. Only a real crisis, I think, would we see Bogard in midfield. Nothing against him. That's just the options that we have. We do have a lot of midfielders. So interesting if he goes out on loan or not. I think that may depend on Onana's injury and the severity of it. Lots of clubs are interested in taking Bogard on loan. It's the same case back in the summer, but Emery kept him for versatility at the back. So,
Okay, so we've got Tielemans and Kamara, Bailey on the right, Rodgers in the centre, and Ramsey on the left. Which yeah, probably. I'd like to see. I know what I'm about to say here. I'd like to see Marlon play at some point. I know he can't play tomorrow, but I'd like to maybe see him start against West Ham potentially to change it up and try something different. So maybe Bailey for this one, Marlon for the next one, rather than not Bailey for this one and not Bailey again for the next one. If that makes sense. So yeah, Rodgers in the middle, Ramsey on the left, Bailey on the right. Sounds fine to me. We're dancing around the issue here of who they're going to be playing behind Duran or Watkins.
Duran. I just think this is quite an exceptional situation where we have two very good strikers. I've sung Watkins' praises the whole season, even though he's missed chances. He's got as many league goals as what he did at this stage of the last campaign. He's 6 off breaking Gabby's record, and not even just goals. What he brings to the team, exceptional. That's all fine, and I would start him against West Ham, but you have to keep Duran happy and motivated to score goals and commit his best to the team. And I do think when the opportunity arises for this player to start without making it into a big scene, for example, if we played a league game next and Duran came in for Watkins, like the situation where I said before, ahead of the Arsenal match, I wanted to start Watkins because that's how you reward players. And it's
just scored against Everton, you're going to play him again.
Yeah, and it's the same competition. But if you played Duran ahead of Watkins in the Champions League, there's no...
It's like you're the cup player.
I may ask Emery afterwards, say, Duran started ahead of Watkins, what was I thinking? But I already know what the answer is. It's a different competition. It's an opportunity for Duran to continue his good form. I know he hasn't played much recently, but before that he scored, 3 in 3 games. So yeah, I'm happy to see Duran start, and I also would want him to as well. I don't want it to become a situation where Watkins plays 6 games in a row and Duran's coming off the bench, and all of a sudden we're back in that kind of situation where it's is Duran unsettled? Is he mithered? And
obviously it's a different competition, but if Duran plays against Monaco, we win the game, and Duran is the reason for that. He scores a goal or whatever. You then have this same conversation for West Ham, do you not? I know you're back to the Premier League, so you're kind of back to the main man. Ollie Watkins, you're the league guy. Duran, you're the cup guy. But if Duran scores, you're back to that thing of maybe Duran has to play against West Ham as well.
But again, I do think there's an obvious case there of Watkins starts because, you say, Dan, 19 goals last season, scored twice in the last 2 league games. Duran, as we all know, is better off the bench than almost any other player in world football. So I'm
thinking... Sorry to interrupt, mate. All I'm thinking is, in terms of continuity, I know it's different competitions, but if our next 4 games are, forget the opposition, Champions League, Premier League, Champions League, Premier League, are we going to swap Duran and Watkins every single time? Will either of them get a back-to-back game?
I mean, to kind of throw in a different perspective here, I wouldn't be surprised if they both started against Monaco or Celtic. I think in one of those games we might see that, depending on the situation. If we get through Monaco, I wouldn't be shocked to see him play Watkins and Duran against Celtic, because he has to try and make that work somehow. We can't. I say we can't. It's a situation where we have to top her.
Does he?
I think
they both have to play?
No, I kind of regret saying that already. But no, he has to. But I think we have such a big opportunity there of 2 players who just score loads of goals. 22 goals between them combined in all competitions? That's quite something. If he can fit them in as a pair at some point, that would be fantastic. And if they click all of a sudden against Celtic, you really could be on something there. That could change the whole complexion of your season. And I know it's going pretty well so far, but I just feel like in those matches, Emery always tends to take that opportunity to do it. Like we saw last season against Palace on the final day. He did against West Ham as well, away from home. So, just to kind of go back onto the Monaco one, though, I think Duran will probably start. Just because I think it's one of those as well where this isn't a case where Duran's out of form and he needs a goal. They're both bang in form, really. So I think it's fair enough to kind of share those starts as well, where you can, basically. Watkins hasn't really played against Ligue and opposition. I mean, obviously like Lille, and neither is Duran really, but there's no kind of argument to suggest that, we need this experience up front, whereas that would be the argument in the Premier League. For example, Watkins has scored many goals against West Ham before. Last season scored twice, if I'm not mistaken, in the 4-1. So, the way I would play it would be Duran against Monaco. Hopefully he scores a hat-trick. But for me, Watkins then starts against West Ham anyway, and you bring Duran on. And then the Celtic match, you see where you are in terms of what did you do against Monaco? Did Watkins play well against West Ham? Assess it then. But taking it on a game-by-game basis, I'm happy to see Duran.
That's all that I wanted to chat about for football specific. Obviously, you are at your hotel in Nice. You mentioned earlier you kind of travelled over on Sunday as we record this. Press conference is Monday. You want to soak all of that in. So what does these next couple of days look like for you, basically, is the point I'm trying to get to in a very, very difficult way.
Yeah, I'll be going to the Monaco presser tomorrow around midday and getting some lines there. Again, they're in dreadful form. They had a few injuries recently. Just to get a flavour of what they're doing. I came
Monday, isn't it?
Yeah, I came on Sunday night because it's actually cheaper at the time we booked to get a connecting flight and stay in Nice than it is to do direct, the day before, whatever. And obviously I'm in time for the presses as well, which is always useful. See, I'll go to Monaco, do that. Emery will speak to the press around 7-8 p.m. UK time at the stadium in Monaco. So yeah, it'll be with the player as well. I don't know who that player will be. And then the match on Tuesday. I'm not going to go into everything that I'm doing because it's, we don't know what we can do. But
I always forget there's a player in the Champions League pressers. It's a nice out any European competition. It's the same for the Conference League, wasn't it? It's a nice kind of change of pace, I suppose.
It would have been Tielemans, but I think he's already spoken to us before, and
I'm pretty sure he did one.
Yeah.
It also tends to be someone who ends up playing, don't they? Although I think Matty Cash did one and then didn't play the game, so it's not always a surefire sign.
It tends to be a player who doesn't play.
Oh, that's actually okay.
Always if they go for press, they don't play. But I don't actually think that isn't actually set in stone. I think it's prepared for in advance. But yeah,
here's my prediction then: Watkins for the presser, Duran plays the game.
Yeah, if he does, we'll literally first question. So you're on the bench tomorrow, Ollie. Possibly Luca Dean. Don't think we spoke to him before in one of these European presses. French connection, yes. We'll see.
Maybe it'll be Kamara, and you can ask him when he's signing on the dotted line.
Yeah. I don't know if he speaks that good English, Kamara. I'm not too sure. We had Diaby for the Lille press conference in France, and he spoke in French. So, maybe Kamara could do it and speak in French. I have no idea at all.
Do you have to wear the little headphones?
Yeah. Yeah, there's like an app that I'm going to have to use tomorrow, the Monaco one. And it's actually very useful. It translates it like instantly. And it's quite funny, actually. When Diaby was doing his press conference for the Lille match, the press officer says, Diaby's up, going to do it in French. So, get your headphones in. And I was like, all right, cool. Just tap record and put my phone up. I was the only one that went up. And I was like, what? Okay, I'll record it if anyone else wants to. That's up to them. Sat back down and then realised, he's talking French. It's pointless in me having, I didn't do very well in my French teaching.
Everyone else is going, look at that idiot going up to record it in French. What's he going to do with that?
Right, you're fluent. Yeah. I literally went up and I turned around and was like, oh, no one taking this down. I'll do it. And I realised as soon as he started talking, that's pointless.
Yeah. No, I enjoyed that, John. Thank you very much for joining me from your hotel in Nice. Apologies to the audience for not answering any questions as of this episode. As I say, we might get around to doing one later in the week between Monaco and West Ham. We'll see what our availability is like. Obviously, transfer window as well is still open. Villa are still active. If anything happens there, and we can jump on and chat about any potential signings or outgoings as well. So
the bulk of the business is, nearly done. But there's obviously a few things they are working on still. So, yeah. As you said, Dan, they're still active.
Yeah, and we'll be here to cover every step of the way, John. Thank you for joining me as always. Thanks everyone who watched along or listened to this episode of the Claret Blue podcast, and we'll see you again Tuesday evening to hopefully talk about Villa almost sniffing their way through to the Champions League round of 16. See you then. Bye-bye. Oh, I like the thought of they can smell it, but you can taste it as well, can't you? You can taste the Champions League round of 16.
What would the Champions League taste like for you?
Oh, I don't know, like posh food and
Well,
you know what I mean, like I don't know, like something fishy. I was thinking
mussels.
like well, I don't like stuff like that, but like I picture like a platter of fish and like that kind of vibe. Have I watched the Mr. Bean movie?
Oh, hold on, which one is it? The one where he gets lost in France.
He goes to France on holiday.
Yeah.
Mr. Bean goes on holiday or something. Is it called?
Yeah, and he has the platter of snails and stuff. Oh, you're joking! And then the phone goes off, and he shoves all the fish in the woman's handbag.
When did that come out? Do you think like 2010 or something like that?
My guess is 2007.
7. Wow, so it's 2007. How old are you? Been there like 10.
Oh my god, 2007.
Is it? When were you born again?
2000.
So you wouldn't have watched that when it came out, would you? You'd have got it on DVD afterwards. Or something.
Yeah, I had it on DVD. Yeah, it was good.
I do remember it. I'd have been 12 then.
Good bit of culture.
Sounds.
It's a bit of culture.
Bit of culture, yeah. Muscles to describe the Champions League and then Mr. Bean's holiday. Welcome to the podcast, everybody.